Is this a real National Player of the Year race, or is it just lip service? I'm about at the point to where I'm asking that question is, are we serious about this or are we not serious about it? He's Zach Blackerby. I'm Brad Law. Thanks for watching a brand new Village Vice. I'm saltier than I should be going into the weekend about it too. You know?
You're just saying they're going to give it to Cooper Flagg no matter what?
Well, I'm looking around and I'm so grateful for this platform. I'm so grateful for the opportunity we have to talk about Auburn sports and sports in general, because we don't just talk Auburn, but it's 9% Auburn.
Sure.
Because elsewhere, there's a very clear narrative and there are very clear interests. And every now and then, I like to point people to those interests. Okay. Just to remind everybody the world that you're living in.
Okay.
So, of Duke's 9 remaining games, and let me just go ahead and say this.
Mm-hmm.
I met Coach K when I was like 14 years old.
Did you like him?
I was on the campus at Duke. I was touring Cameron Indoor Stadium and happened to meet him coming out of his office. He was super nice. Like, Duke is has been my second favorite team since then in college basketball.
More than Michigan?
Yeah, the Michigan thing was more recent than that. I mean, I was younger, so I was very impressionable.
Well, let's just be clear. You love Michigan.
Michigan is my second favorite football program.
Okay, got it.
Let's say that. Let's don't go. I know we're coming up on Valentine's Day in a week, but love is a little strong. I don't know if I'm comfortable committing to that word.
Okay.
But they're my second favorite football team. Duke is my second favorite basketball team. The play-by-play guy at Duke is a really good friend, respected. Like, I have nothing against Duke. Okay. Now, with that said, 7 of their 9 remaining basketball games in the regular season are on ESPN, ABC, or Fox, broadcast network, or primary ESPN. Okay. Of Auburn's 9 remaining games, 6 don't have TV designations yet. 1 is going to be on ESPN. The Alabama there will be on ESPN. Kentucky there, I think, will be ABC.
Okay.
So you got 6 that are still up in the air, though. If you have a legitimate National Player of the Year candidate, as Auburn does,
right,
those games should be on primary ESPN.
Well, that stuff matters. I mean, we had that conversation with the Heisman about Ashton Jeanty, and I'm like, I don't think it's going to happen because he's playing Friday nights, like multiple weeks in a row during the season. And it's like nobody's going to see him. Nobody's going to see him play. The crazy thing about this, and I don't have Duke's schedule pulled up in front of me. I didn't know we were going to talk about this, but I would assume that Auburn's matchups are more interesting than Duke's, just given the current state of the SEC versus the current state of the ACC. Is that correct?
Much more. Yeah.
So,
and I'll pull up their schedule and give you some of these matchups.
You asking the question, like, is it lip service? Like, it is starting as soon as Janai missed a little bit of time because of, his injury. It really felt like, oh, okay, this is going to create some like mountain that's going to be really, really tough to climb because they want everything to go to Cooper Flagg, everything to go towards the face of Duke basketball right now, who's going to be the number 1 pick in the draft. And they're going to try to build him up to be the next Victor Wembanyama. And that's just part of, that's not, Janai Broome is not that. Janai Broome will not be the first pick in the NBA draft. I have seen him move up draft boards. I'm a little skeptical of that. I'm curious to see what happens in the next few months with that. But it looks like you found something.
I want to come back to that. But yeah, all right. So Duke at home against Stanford is an ABC game. Duke-Stanford.
Stanford's not even like a real ACC team.
No. Duke at Virginia is ESPN. Duke at Miami. Duke at home against Wake Forest. Duke plays Illinois in a non-conference game at the end of February. That's on Fox. That's, of course, Fox is going to pick that up. Duke at Clemson is a decent game relative to the ACC. Duke at North Carolina is a rivalry. Those are going to be natural main ESPN games.
Sure.
But you touched on the point in all of this, and this is why all of the major push is going to be for Flagg, right or wrong. and that is the NBA tie-in. ESPN's NBA contract is huge. They moved Auburn from ESPN to ESPN2 to try to push the Lakers onto primary ESPN at the exact same time this Saturday. It's about the NBA. The NBA is a superstar-driven league. It's not a team brand-driven league. It's a superstar-driven league. And so they're pushing the Cooper Flagg NBA narrative to justify winning College Player of the Year because it boosts his NBA brand, his NBA connectivity.
Yeah, and he's going to go to a bad team, and maybe it makes that bad team more interesting. Like,
right.
It makes sense. It makes sense. But yeah, you're right. You're right. The NBA is all about the players. There's two brands that I think can stand alone outside of a superstar, but they always seem to have superstars, so that point might be irrelevant with the Lakers and the Celtics.
Yeah.
You might could throw the Bulls in there to some extent, but it does seem like they're not as strong as they used to be. The Knicks, if you're in New York, maybe.
Yeah. If they ever got it together. But I just kind of want to get in front of this a little more than what we've already done. That's what you're going to see over the next 6 weeks, the next 5 weeks, up until the end of the regular season. Yeah.
A lot of Cooper Flagg for sure.
And it's going to be NBA because I think, and I'm not objective, I am biased, but if you ask yourself objectively, if you switch the guys onto the other team, if you put Janai on that Duke team, if you put Cooper Flagg on this Auburn team, and they face the schedules that they're facing, does it change their productivity? It's very close as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Do their numbers change? And if their numbers do change, should that reasonably be the end of the Player of the Year discussion?
I was talking about this with another a host that covers a basketball, a very dominant basketball program elsewhere in the country. And he made the comments like, can you imagine if Janai played for Duke? And I'm like, yeah, it'd be all about Janai Broome.
Yeah.
It'd be all about Janai Broome. Now, I don't know if he'd be getting the NBA draft buzz. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. He might get more of it though if he played at Duke.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Interesting dynamic for sure.
Duke's brand is terrific. They've been elite for a long time. I'm not, again, this is not to discredit Duke or to complain about Duke getting to, but what you're seeing right now and what you'll see for the next month is the Cooper Flagg NBA hype.
Yeah.
It is not because they genuinely believe he is the best player in college basketball standalone this year. Now, look, were it not this season even, and BP made this point on Tiger Talk last night, were it not for the season Janai's having, Flagg would be the runaway player of the year in college basketball. But he's not playing in a different season. He's playing in the same season that Janai is putting together this season. Right. So, all right, there we go. I'm glad we got to talk about that a little bit.
Yep. And of course, Janai Broome and the Tigers will play a very, very big game tomorrow. That's coming up right here on Village Vice. Hey, I want to tell you guys about our friends at Rhoback. Rhoback.com, RHOBACK.com. It's the best place to buy all of your quarter zips, as well as your performance hoodies, as well as they've got hats, they've got shorts, they've got pants, they've got everything that you need to look good and to feel good over at Rhoback.com. A million different patterns. I say a million. Sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
But it's probably close to a million different options. It's insane, all the stuff that they've got. And they're launching new stuff every week. It's awesome. We want you to get a little bit of a discount. Use promo code VICE20 at checkout. They're going to automatically apply a site-wide code when you go to checkout. Remove that and type in VICE20 to get 20% off your order. That is at Rhoback.com.
I just went to their website and they've got a crew collection that's out now and some fun Mardi Gras looking stuff.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
they just change it all the time. Go check it out for yourself.
Yeah.
All right. Auburn didn't host a top 10 game since 1959 before the Tennessee game. And now tomorrow they'll do it for the second time in 3 weeks. Just massive, massive game.
Auburn favored by 9.5 points.
Really?
That's what it was last night when I was looking at it.
It's a lot of points. I think Walter Clayton is going to play. And with him, they've lost 2 games. By 6 to Kentucky when they scored 100, and then the other was by 1 to Missouri. That was a home game, and Missouri's a good team. But
Missouri's good.
Yep. They're good, man, and they're like Auburn. They play really good defense. They don't sacrifice their offense to play good defense. They're well rounded. They got a little bit of everything.
Yeah. I mean, Auburn's going to need their A game. If this is in Gainesville, I'm a lot more concerned. Weirdly confident going into tomorrow's action. I think Auburn wins this game, Brad. I assume this will be part of our 6-pack, so I kind of gave that pick away, but I do think Auburn wins. I just can't pick against Auburn right now, especially at home.
No, I'm with you. There's no reason to pick against Auburn until somebody else beats Auburn. There's no reason to pick against them. And this isn't trap game. This isn't, hey, I walked around the village yesterday and I saw the tents and the game tables that have been set up and everything.
Yeah.
How cool is that? Like, think about being in college and having that experience.
Right now. I hate that. I just missed this basketball wave. I just missed it. And it would have been cool to be part of that for sure.
And they kind of have it figured out. That's organized, and people were out there just jammed up and having a great time yesterday. And the weather's been cooperative. Hadn't been too cold at night. I mean, this is stuff they'll tell their kids about. I wonder how many people watch our show from the village.
I don't know. They got a lot of time on their hands.
Yes, they do. Yes, but they've got it figured out. They've got tables set up. Some of them are working on classwork, and it's just what a fun time.
Yeah,
what a fun time. Is it going to be the best atmosphere we've ever seen for a game at Neville Arena?
I mean, I heard it was pretty incredible for the Tennessee game.
Yeah,
but maybe so. I mean, it seems like there's more at stake every time. As long as this win streak gets longer and longer, and the hypotheticals of man, how good can this team be? Can this team do historically good things? You're starting to put ourselves into a situation to ask that question.
Can I tell you, I think too that something we're going to see more and more of that we saw Tuesday night, and some of this is because it's the way Oklahoma approached the game, but everywhere Auburn goes now, and at home too, and maybe more so at home, teams are going to try to push Auburn around. Because that's how you that's how you beat a giant, is you try to be the one to deliver the first punch.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's literal too.
And if I'm another team, I am smack talking Chad Baker-Mazara, hoping he does something.
Yeah. I thought, that I'm glad you bring him up specifically, because he's the one that got the tech and he's the one that was drawing back. But can I tell you who I blame for 90% of what happened Tuesday?
The officiating?
Yeah.
Yeah, they let Fears push people around like crazy.
3-4 times. And
Taylor Korn at the next round shared some video with us.
Yeah.
And, she videoed a lot of it from, the media spot. And she's like, guys, look at this. Guys, look at this. And it's him just lowering shoulders into Dylan and, shoving. I mean, the elbow thing wasn't just it.
Right.
So it's your job as an official. And Damian Fishback was all over in the TV broadcast. I don't know if you've heard this discussion, but he's like, when they were talking about the review when it was the elbow, Brad, he was talking about hey, if you let this go, it's going to escalate.
Good.
And he was all over. And he's like, this is what happens. Y'all let this happen, Well, so he called it. He was all over it.
I'm glad. Damian knows what he's talking. Damian, he's smart. But that's the point I was going to make. And I hadn't gone back to watch the telecast yet. But
yeah, sure.
You're the grown up. You know this. You work 30 games a week and never take a day off. As an official, that if you let it, was it the hardest elbow and was it a little bit of acting that he went down to the floor? Sure. Wasn't the hardest elbow. Sure. It was a little, melodramatic. But if you let that go, of course it's going to escalate.
Yeah. Then right after that, it was, Denver got kicked in an unfortunate spot. I think that was a little bit of just his shot. I don't think that was intentional, but that happening right after the elbow, it doesn't look good. Right. And especially when you've got a team that's as emotional as Auburn is, you know what's happening next. And I mean, I think the narrative around Chad Baker-Mazara, I don't think it's entirely true.
I agree. Yeah.
He's not some dirty player. He's passionate. He's emotional, but a lot of good basketball players are passionate and emotional. He's not this dirty guy. Now, he might retaliate because I think he's got some pride, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But yeah, that I agree with you. It was on the officiating. Can you imagine if he would have done that, though? If he would have done the stuff that Fears did earlier this week? I made the joke on my post-game show, Brad. I'm like, they eject him, they tow his car from the parking lot, and they move all of his furniture out of the apartment. And the SEC says, like, you can't show your face again if he does that.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's a major double standard when it comes to Chad Baker-Mazara.
100% correct. Yeah, he's going to retaliate if you keep moving, if you keep moving the goalpost on what's acceptable and what's allowed. And one of the officials came over and talked to the TV crew. We're very fortunate we're in this spot. And I'm not naming it. I don't ever name names of the officials because that's not, we're not trying to, out to get people. But one of the officials came over toward the end of the game and tried to explain that the reason they called the double technicals that ultimately meant the end of the night for Chad was at the point where you're not playing basketball anymore, then it's time to put an end to it. And I laughed out loud when he said it. And then he said, thank you guys for your support as he walked away. He clearly hadn't heard what Damian said earlier in the telecast. They weren't playing basketball when you're elbowing and shoving and shoulder blocking people just because 3/4 of the way down the court.
Everybody blames because of the part of the country that we're in and the world that we're in, SEC officiating, but college basketball has an officiating problem. It has an officiating problem. It's not just the SEC; it's everywhere. Everybody who watches college basketball is complaining about officiating this year.
Yeah, everybody can't be wrong, right? Everybody can't. If everybody's complaining about it, everybody can't be wrong.
And I don't think it's specific to being slanted one way or the other. I know some Auburn discussion is Auburn never gets calls or whatever, but I just think it's the inconsistency across the board where sometimes it's a foul, sometimes it's not, and it goes for both teams, or it changes at halftime, and it's just it's not good. It's not a good thing.
I used to get really upset about it changing so much in the second half. And then I heard somebody talk about how, the coaches are right. You're on offense on your half of the floor. And so your coach is right in the official's ear calling for more fouls as his guy has the ball. I mean, right there in front of him. I think that affects the officials too. I don't think it should, but I think it does.
I say, well, that's not good.
No, but I think that's what happens.
That's not good at all.
So, I mean, don't you think, though, that has a part to play in it? I'm right. Hey, you got him. It's a foul. It's a foul. And he's right in his ear. It happened right in front of him.
I would think in some cases it does the opposite, actually.
Maybe depending on the coach.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, no, that's just I know that game was back there in the rearview mirror, but I thought that was a really prideful, tone deaf sort of thing to say, is that, well, when we stopped playing basketball, that's when we had to get it under control.
And the point of the officials is to protect the student athletes.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't do that. They failed. They failed at that. And they helped form a false narrative about a student athlete that he's this dirty player. They helped fuel it. And it's not true.
Right. No, you protect them. You don't fuel stuff like that. And I say all that to kind of bring it back around and say, I think some of that was dirty play from Oklahoma. Some of that is you want to take the fight to a team that's ranked higher than you, to the better team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're going to see a level of physicality, not just trying to bait particular players.
Yeah, sure.
That's how you play this game at a championship level. You're going to see much more physicality. Officials are going to have to be watchful about stuff like that in the first couple of segments of games and get it under control early.
All right, let's six-pack this.
All right. We will start and we'll stay mostly with SEC basketball. How do you feel about Texas A&M at Missouri? Top 15 game. Missouri has not lost at home. Both teams are 6-3 in the league.
Yeah, I really like Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Have you looked at the road teams in the SEC this week?
Road teams this week? No, I have not.
Number 4, Tennessee is at Oklahoma. Number 10, A&M's at Missouri. Number 6, Florida's at Auburn.
Yeah.
Number 22, Mississippi State's at Georgia. Number 3, Bama's at Arkansas. Yeah. Number 25, Ole Miss is at LSU.
Unranked teams on the road. Unranked teams. I'm sorry, ranked teams on the road.
Ranked teams on the road, right.
Yeah.
Not all those teams are winning.
Oh, no. No, I agree.
And so, like, there's a chance to make a major statement if you're a home team.
Yeah.
This week, I think Missouri wins. I think Missouri's a really good basketball team.
I agree. I agree with you. I think Texas A&M's good too. I think they're both, 6-3 says something at this point in the conference. But I like Missouri. And again, until they lose at home, I'm picking them to win at home.
Okay.
What about Ole Miss? Ole Miss hanging on at number 25 at LSU. LSU only 1-8 in the league. Is that one of those ranked going on the road gets upset games?
It could be. It totally could be. I'm not going to pick LSU because I don't think LSU's that good of a team, but this could be a tricky one. If I'm Ole Miss, like, I'm circling this as a potential trap game.
Yeah, you just come off the win over Kentucky. You bounce back. You're feeling good.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to take Ole Miss too, though. I don't. LSU's a little ways away.
But if LSU wins this game 76-74, like, I'm not shocked.
Not shocked.
Yeah.
Okay. I buy that. What about number 3 Alabama at Arkansas? Hogs have won 2 in a row. All of a sudden, they're feeling themselves a little bit. All that talent.
It kind of feels like a Calipari team, just a little bit more extreme. Like, sometimes it takes them a while to really get going, and then they peak later in the season. A similar situation. I'm taking Alabama, but I would not be shocked if Arkansas pulled this upset. I would not want to play Arkansas this weekend.
Do you have a line on that game?
Let me see. Let me check out our friends over at MyBookie. Arkansas.
They
don't have one up yet
against Alabama.
They do not have one yet.
Okay, don't have one. All right.
For what it's worth, the matchup predictor with ESPN's analytics give Alabama a 67.8% chance to win.
That's great. What's the algorithm they use for that? I love made up ESPN.
Well, it's according to ESPN analytics.
Yeah. Okay. That's
transparency is a good thing. Yeah.
Okay. Sure. What about Texas at Vanderbilt? Before we get into,
that's not one of the 6 packs.
That's one of the 6. Sure, it is. Mississippi State at Georgia is a boring game, and Auburn plays Vandy next.
I'll take Vandy at home.
Why is that a boring game?
It's just like the only game. It's literally the only game in the conference that doesn't have a ranked team in it.
Yeah, I mean, is Kentucky, South Carolina at Rupp more compelling?
No, it's not.
Okay, is Mississippi State at Georgia more compelling?
Yes.
You think so?
I think so.
I think
because the ranked team's the road team.
Yeah. Okay.
There's gonna. I mean, was it last week where you went through like all these top 5 teams on the road and you're like, one of them's going to lose, which you were right, by the way. But I'm looking at all these ranked SEC teams on the road, like, they're not all winning.
Yeah, you're right.
So that's my argument.
All
but
right.
yeah, we can pick Texas at Vandy. I'll take Vandy.
Right. Forget it. Nah, forget it. Let's move on.
Well, what a great game.
No, forget it. Let's move on. How about Auburn, Florida? Give me your thoughts. I know you said Auburn's going to win. What does it come down to? Why does Auburn win the game?
Yeah, I'm not taking Auburn to cover. 9.5 is a ton against the Florida team that can score and play defense.
Yeah.
I'm kind of wondering if that line is assuming Clayton doesn't play. That's kind of my gut reaction.
That was my first thought.
Which, I mean,
I think he's going to play.
What's the thought behind that? Just gut feeling?
No, I think that he was a game time decision against Vanderbilt, and the coaches afterwards said that they were just being like super cautious with him.
Okay.
Which means if it was a first place game
a few days ago,
yeah, then he would have probably played.
Totally reasonable. Totally reasonable. I don't think Auburn covers, but I do think they win. I think this is going to be a physical game. The over-under is 155. I actually think it's going to be a little bit lower scoring because both teams, defensively are kind of getting the job done. So,
all right.
Yeah, but I do think Auburn wins.
Yeah, I'm similar. I think so. I think that's a lot of points. Florida's only lost 1 game by that many points, and it was without Walter Clayton. So now they haven't faced Auburn yet. They've faced good teams, but they haven't faced Auburn. They haven't faced Auburn at home. So how effective? There's no reason to expect that Denver and Miles won't be effective defensively. Florida's guards are good, but there's no reason to think that they'll do against Auburn defensively what nobody else has been able to do.
Yeah.
So that's
I think so. Especially if Clayton plays and he's not 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Because then it's like, what do you do with Denver? Do you put Denver on him? Do you put Denver on their second best offensive player and you put Miles on him?
Right.
I don't know. That'd be tough. That'd be tough.
Condon's really good on the inside, but can he withstand Broom and Cardwell and Chaney over
it's a lot.
40 minutes of a game.
So the Auburn team could throw so much at you.
Yeah. So give me Auburn by a couple of possessions.
Okay.
That's 5 of the 6. The big game, Chiefs, Eagles. That's the last one in the 6-pack.
Yeah. I can't pick against Patrick Mahomes at this point. So I'll take Kansas City. I think I'm polling for Philadelphia, but I think the bet is on the Chiefs.
Why do you think you're pulling for Philadelphia?
I don't think so. I love the NFL. That is my love. That is my passion. That's what I follow closest. And it you need more I think it's better when you have more active quarterbacks with a championship instead of Mahomes having them all. And this is coming from a guy who watched the Patriots for a long time. So like, I get it. Like, I think there's an argument for a dynasty too. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah, you never once when Tom Brady was winning those rings said, I think it'd be better for the game if you had more quarterbacks with active championships.
But it is different though. I mean, Tom won 3 in 4 years and then went a decade without like winning another one. And so, Peyton had a run.
Yep.
Big Ben got 2 in that span. Russell got you had quarterbacks get rings.
True.
Now what feels out to me, Tom would have gotten 15 rings when he was with the Pats, which he was almost halfway there, which is exciting. But I think it's better for most folks, for most viewers of the NFL if Jalen Hurts. And also I know we went to Bama, but I like Jalen Hurts.
You're talking about former Oklahoma quarterback Jalen Hurts?
You're right. Oklahoma legend Jalen Hurts. That's right. I like Jalen. I think and I still think even though he's been to multiple Super Bowls, people don't really respect him. They don't really see him as an NFL quarterback. I wouldn't mind him getting making people eat some crow. I think that'd be cool.
That's fair. I mean, I take your point. They're more built on their defense than Saquon Barkley. Like he'll be, the narrative will be he's the catalyst between getting close and getting there.
And Saquon's one of my favorite, non-Patriot players, and I loved him with the Giants. And then when he went to the Eagles, I'm like, watch out. And he's been better than I think any of us imagined. He's been so fun.
Yeah.
Saquon seems like a pretty good dude too. So
sure. Favorite big game? I don't know if we're allowed to say Super Bowl or not, but favorite.
It wouldn't be. There's no advertisements here around.
That's a good point. That's a good point. All right, favorite Super Bowl food. What do you have to have when you watch the Super Bowl?
Some sort of dip, like buffalo chicken dip is probably my go-to.
Okay.
You?
Similar. I want like a sausage and cheese type of dip. I can go crazy on that.
Got it.
Feel real bad about myself later kind of thing.
Yeah, sliders are always good. Can't go wrong with sliders. Can't go wrong with just, the classic Doritos as well.
I'll tell you, I love a good deli sandwich too that's cut in sections, like a big giant deli sandwich, and I just go grab a section, grab a hunk out of that thing, and watch a commercial break.
I love it when it's like a mystery deli platter, and you're like, I'm not entirely sure which kind of sandwich I got. I think it's ham, but it could be turkey, and I don't know what color cheese this is. Yeah. I like that. That's always fun.
Rank ham, turkey, and roast beef in a deli sandwich.
You did the right order. Ham, turkey, roast beef.
All right. I think I go the other. I think I go turkey 1, big drop off ham, big drop off. Like if it's all that's
there. You like
there,
turkey more than ham?
Much more.
Interesting.
In every setting. Christmas, deli sandwich, everything.
You like interesting. Christmas, I like ham more for sure.
I know a lot of people do. I get it. Just
turkey, like if you get a turkey that's like cooked perfectly, it's just so there's so much room for error when you talk about like Christmas Day turkey or Thanksgiving Day turkey. Like a lot of times it's pretty dry.
Sure. Which is why you got everything else to go with it, of course.
That's right. Like gravy.
Not gravy though.
Just smother it in gravy.
That's disgusting.
It's not disgusting.
Yeah, that's why you need your dressing. Good cornbread dressing.
I don't know where my wife got it from, but she started saying this to my 4-year-old, and I think of you when she says it. She started saying like whenever I'll be eating something totally normal, like a piece of pizza or something, and my 4-year-old will be like, "That's yuck. That's disgusting." Like, you eat this all the time. Like, what do you mean? And we started saying, "Don't yuck somebody's yum." And I'm like, Brad Law, all he does is yuck other people's yum.
Oh, that's not fair. I do not. I do not. Everybody else is free to have whatever they want as their yum. Just when you put it on my plate is when it becomes yuck.
Okay.
Whatever you want on your plate is fine.
Just don't yuck my yum, Brad.
No, I'll really try. That's the motto for 2025. Don't yuck my yum. Put it on a shirt. Can we put that on the next Village Vice shirt? Don't yuck my yum.
Absolutely. That's it.
This is probably a good time to end.
Take us out of here.
All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. If you haven't yet, be sure to do that and head over to thebarnauburn.com and join the conversation there. Remember, until next time, everyone has vices. Make sure Village Vice is one of yours.